मैंने उनको कहा कि मेरा इस तरह से कुछ प्लान बन रहा है और मैं करना चाहता हूँ, तो मुझे थोड़ा सा गाइड करें। उन्होंने खैर मुझे बताया, और लेकिन ये था कि उन्होंने
सॉरी अब्दुल्ला, ये मैंने शायद प्रेस बटन गलत कर दिया था।
नहीं, कोई मसला नहीं है जी।
बात करते हैं इसको। अस्सलाम वालेकुम अब्दुल्ला, हाउ आर यू?
वालेकुम अस्सलाम जी, आई एम गुड।
That's very
हाउ आर
good.
यू सर?
Thank you very much for joining us, and first of all, many congratulations on passing this big exam that you have completed in July, Kaps exam. So I just want to ask you a few questions, Kap. How was your journey in doing this exam, and when did you started this preparation? Our audience will go to listen, and they will listen very keenly because they want to know either this exam is achievable, first of all, and how much time that you need to spend to pass this exam. So there are two major questions that we asked by many people, and sometimes if they don't get the answers, they just don't progress. So if you can make it easy for them to share your journey, that would be great. Thank you.
जी, actually, sir, I started this in nearly around Feb 2023.
Right.
I actually came to know about Kaps and the various opportunities available in Australia for pharmacists through one of my relatives. She's actually herself a pharmacist, and she had already applied for Kaps exam, and she attempted in March 2023.
Okay.
But since I started my journey in Feb, and I had to apply first for the Kaps assessment, the document assessments. So I obviously could not attempt the March exam. So it was clear for me that I have to in fact attempt this in July, inshallah. I applied in Feb, and then it was about around April 2023 that I got my assessment successfully. And interestingly, it was perhaps early in the morning. I woke up and offered my Fajr prayer, and then I checked my mobile. I saw on my mobile that I have received an email from APC saying that you have successfully been considered, your documents have been evaluated, and they have been assessed successfully. And I thought, okay, I'll go to to my office and come back, and in the evening, in a relaxed mode, I'll just book my cab center. And while I was in my office, one of my friends who was also looking forward to attempt Kaps, he told me that all seats available in Islamabad center, they have been booked. And no way, no chance for July. I was extremely depressed because I thought in November, oh my God, it's too far. So why I didn't started my document assessment before, and things like that, you can understand. And then I came to know that you are in fact contacting some officials in Australia. And I was in fact shared perhaps a survey or something like that, a document to fill in and then email to the APC as a request to open up center in Lahore as well. So I would like to thank you, in fact, because it was perhaps by the blessings of God and through your hard work that, like me and almost, I think, 6-7 other pharmacists could attempt in Lahore July Kaps exam. And thank you very much. And in fact, in this regard, I believe that along with the help of God, it was you who became a source of making this possible by the grace of God. So thank you, in fact.
Look, there are certain things need to be done by some people. Maybe that was directed towards me. I have taken that very seriously. That message, that in November 22, there was some relaxation in the visas, especially happened for pharmacist profession. If you remember that time in November 2022, when no experience required as the Kaps, and you can apply for state nomination. And few of my colleagues in my group has done that, and they are already in Australia because they have used that information so quickly. Few of them are already landed in Australia. Those who passed the exam in November. They got the guidance somehow earlier than probably some people doing that right now. But the amount of interest, as you can see, when you applied in March, you attended in July. In March, only 16 pharmacists attended the exam in Pakistan, right?
Yes,
in
exactly.
July, nearly 48 multiplied by 3, so nearly 150 pharmacists attended in 3 exams. So how was your feeling? How busy was that time frame when you were studying and when you were working? So can you please describe how much time you have spent on your study before your exam? Is it 3-month study plan, or was it 1 month, or what was your plan? I just want to know so we can tell all pharmacists who are listening to you.
Actually, I took a 4-month leave from my office.
Okay.
Because I was working as a government servant. So I had the opportunity to actually avail some leaves which are allowed when you are in government service. So I took a 4 months off from my office. First reason was that my office hours were a bit long. So I thought I may not be able to manage my studies along with my office. And since I had the opportunity to take to avail my annual leaves, so I went for 4 months with pay leaves. But unfortunately, I could not use all of them for my study purpose. The reason being that due to some family matters, in fact, my sister and her husband, they were leaving for UK. They are medical doctors, and they were staying with us before they had to leave. And so I remained busy in all that stuff, couldn't prepare much. And when it was almost 1.5 months left, I felt guilty. In the sense that I have availed the leave period and I had the time, but I haven't utilized it properly. And that was something when I started to take things seriously. And also, what I felt was that before this, when 1.5 months were left for the Kaps exam, before that, I was in fact focusing on things in much more detail and unnecessary details, like watching long lectures on angina, for example, and on cardiac arrhythmias, which were a little unnecessary, I believe. And I believe that all that information can't be kept in the mind throughout. So I realized now it's time when I need to be more focused, especially on the part of the calculations, as well as the pharmacology part. I need to be more focused instead of studying everything. Also, what I felt, and maybe it was a good decision now, I feel, that I then selected the topics that I feel personally that I'm good at. For example, I felt I was very good at antibiotics. The reason being that I had a work experience in the hospital setup, and I had lots of time spent in the wards, reviewing medication charts of various patients. So I felt that antibiotics is something which I'm good at. So I didn't read the whole chapters of antibiotics. I even didn't touch it, because even without cramming, I knew the dose of vancomycin. I knew the dose of amoxicillin, for example. I knew the difference between ampicillin and amoxicillin structure. So I felt I need not to focus onto that. Rather, I need to just study more, like parasympathetic nervous system. I mean, I had not been very much in touch with the medications of parasympathetic nervous system, especially those which are used in glaucoma and stuff like that. So I focused on those topics, revised the calculations, learned them properly, practiced them. At the same time, more importantly, what everyone says, and I totally endorse it, that you need to spend a considerable amount of time on the recalls as well. Because if not all, but significant part comes from the recalls.
Yep.
So I think it will be totally, it will be, you will be having a very bold step if you ignore recalls, and that will be rather stupid, I must say.
Okay,
so that's all.
That's good. Thank you. And what's your plan? Have you done your PTE? I think you already completed your PTE as well. Have you?
Actually, when I had started my preparations for PT right after I attempted Kaps, but I was not that very motivated until I got my result. After the result, I straightforward took the mocks, and I felt that I am getting 80 plus, like even haven't done much preparation and stuff like that. So I thought that instead of waiting like for 1 month or 1.5 months to take the attempt of PT, I must go for it a little early. Because I felt I'm confident that I can at least gain 65 plus. So I took my PT exam on 24th of August.
Okay.
And it went good. Alhamdulillah. I was quite nervous about it, but it went good. It was 90 in speaking, 90 in reading,
Oh, wow.
80 in writing, but unfortunately 77 in listening.
Okay.
Actually, maybe it was perhaps I missed one. I had actually a little, what should I say, kind of unfortunate thing. Like, for example, when I was practicing on my laptop, in listening part, we have a section whereby the fill in the blanks are there. And while the speaker is speaking, you have to actually type the words in those blanks. I had a little practice in typing, so I felt that I should not write those words on the separate paper. Instead, while I'm listening them, I must keep on typing them. I went for that, but unfortunately the tab button, I'm not sure if it was blocked by the PT or it wasn't. The tab button of the keyboard that was given to me wasn't working.
Okay.
So I was in fact pushing the tab button to move on to the next fill in the blank, but it wasn't working. Then I realized, and maybe 1-2 marks I just lost over there. And then the last sentence that I heard for the word for dictation, I couldn't just hear that properly, maybe. And so some marks got deducted over there.
Okay. So overall, you got 80 above, right?
Yeah, overall, I got 85.
You got 85 and you're still worried about 77.
Actually, that was just like having 79 each. I could just gain
You already
more marks.
got 85. You already got 20 points for your visa, which is valid for 3 years, and which is valid for your APRA registration. So you have done, I think, remarkable things in last 1 month. You got the Kaps result. You got the PTE with 85 marks. That's amazing. That's many congratulations to you and your family, maybe your parents, your wife, if they all coming on your application. And hopefully you will apply for state nomination. And as you know, we have already discussed many times in our webinar. I was in Lahore in Punjab University. I was in University of Lahore as well. Did a big session of 6 hours with 300 people full of hall there, and teachers and professors and vice chancellor of Punjab University, and that was amazing. So if I want to say a few things like, you're coming to Australia to work, so do you know where you will be finding the jobs, where you will be applying for the jobs?
I would love to actually initially apply for retail pharmacy. The reason being that I feel that while working on retail pharmacy, you can learn a lot, and you can get a chance to understand that new environment. For example, over here, while working in Pakistan, although I got job right after 1 year, I got government job right after 1 year of my graduation. But before that, I had worked in retail pharmacy setup. I'm sure you must be familiar with the Fazaldeen and Pharmaplus and other retail chains.
My question
So
is
I
that
worked over there.
if you're planning for your community, because in Australia, retail pharmacy word is not really commonly used. We use community pharmacy instead of retail pharmacy.
Okay.
But I want to know, do you have good understanding where the jobs will be for you to hunt? Which area? Which part of Australia?
Not exactly the part of the Australia, but what I have heard from all your webinars, sir, and various other videos that I have seen on YouTube, I've come to know that most of the opportunities are available in the regional areas.
That's fine.
And you may not a fresh incomer, anyone who is freshly coming to Australia may not be straight away getting the job in the big cities. So I think that that should be pretty fine for anyone.
There are some logic behind. I can explain you the logics. The pharmacy graduates that come out from universities here in Australia. There are about like 17 universities, if I'm not wrong, or maybe 15 universities. There was a survey. They do a survey from students where they want to work. And the recent survey says that 0.5% or maybe less than 0.5% want to work in regional community pharmacy. So that is why those jobs will not fulfilled by the local graduates. So that's a great opportunity that person coming from overseas take over the jobs for your internship.
Right.
And there's a planning that you need to think before applying for a job. It's not just you applying for internship for a year in a regional and then leave them and then go to a big city. No, don't do that, because they will assess you in the interview process that they will hire an intern pharmacist with a plan. They're going to that pharmacist will work with that company for at least 2 years or 3 years. So that's because internship is like training, is a paid training. So you will get internship. You will get so many things during that process. You will be paid as well. So you will not be a fruitful candidate for them until you become a pharmacist and become working as a pharmacist. Then you will be productive for them. So let's keep that thing in your mind. So this is the very basic information that when I say we overseas pharmacists need to understand what is the logic behind of these overseas pharmacists and setting up good opportunities in regional. 2 reasons I explained to you. Local graduates don't go. Someone need to go. So you need to go there. Like in our elite group, there are a few candidates who already got the job offers because they were told that these are the opportunities, not to look into big cities. When I came to Lahore, I remember at Lahore University, I just came out from the car. There were 2 senior professors were there to receive me, welcome me. There were 2 or 3 students just came there and just said to me, Irfan, you are here to tell us that there are lots of jobs in Australia, but my friends in Perth are getting jobs from last more than 1.5 years. I said, where they are? And he said, he's in Perth. I said, where he's applying? And he said, obviously in Perth, but there's no jobs in Perth. They need to apply outside of Perth. Do they know that? And he said, maybe not. So that was the first conversation. When I went on the stage, I asked the people, how many of you interested to work in Australia? And nearly everyone said, yes. And I said, do you know where you're going to work? Everyone say, oh, yes, we know. You're going to work in Sydney. I said, good luck. No chance for you guys. And then I break the news. And I asked starting them, can you find out and let me know what are the names of the cities? So everyone said all the big cities names. So I actually start telling them, just forget all these big cities. Although you need to land there in the big city on the airport, you can't land in the middle of nowhere, but you need to search jobs outside of big cities. So that was my first impression about Australia, first impression about regional Australia, life in regional Australia, how we live in Australia, how we mix with the culture. So that is the guidance that I've given to that many pharmacists who are there listening live. I was not talking about how to pass the Kaps exam. I was not talking about that. I was not telling them what's the process of applying the Kaps. I was not talking about that. I was just giving them a whole awareness of cultural awareness where the jobs are. That's very important.
Very.
I thought I'll just share with you because it will be very useful for you if you have that
Thank you very much.
information straight away when you start putting the applications.
Yeah. Well, sir, I believe, if you allow me, I believe that once we are moving to a new job, instead of expecting too much, we should actually realize the ground realities. And I believe if you are moving to a new place and you want to settle yourself and that's your dream place, maybe initially you have to spend some time, like 2, 3, 4, 5 years. That may be a little hard, but then you will have a good time. So why don't we understand that? I mean, this is something wrong on our part if we think perhaps Australia is like having no pharmacists over there and we are the one who will go over there and take over everything. So that's totally wrong approach. Instead, we should be ready to, we should be expecting and we should be ready to face any hard time. Hard time in the sense, obviously, it's not so okay if you are living in some regional areas, you won't get food over there, you won't get medical facilities. Not so, okay? Of course, big cities do have a charm, like you see malls and various places, you have to go there. But maybe like if that is the case, I should have, if like I had taken my decision 10 years back, moving to Australia, I may have been in a big city today, right? But if I have taken this decision very late, I must be ready to accept some harsh or hard time as well now. So we should be realistic.
I just want to say a few things. After when you say hard time, all the Pharmacists of the Year award winners, all the intern Pharmacists of the Year award winner in Australia, they all, you look at on internet, just go on Pharmacy Guild's website, who are the winners from last maybe 5 years, 6 years. They will have a photo. I was also one of the winners back in 2009, Pharmacist of the Year award winner from Pharmaceuticals from Australia. So if you look at them, 70 or 80% were from regional community pharmacies.
Right.
The reason behind that, in regional pharmacies, we pharmacists do hell of a work as compared to city pharmacists, because we are the primary health service providers in pharmacy. We do a lot of services as compared to city pharmacists. We got a lot of different types of customers coming, a lot of different types of needs coming. We need to provide the solution. On the day we are in a remote location, we, like pharmacists or a doctor, is two health professional. Maybe sometime some pharmacies are located in those areas where there's no doctor available on that day. So you are the health provider. There's a huge responsibility for the pharmacist. There's a huge return of, I would say, satisfaction as the pharmacist. If you work in that, when you come home, you say to yourself, look, I'm a pharmacist. I provided so many solutions today to that person. He came from other part of Australia. He came from, he didn't have a prescription. I tried to solve the patient issue. I call the doctor. I get the prescription from them. I got a fax done from them, and I supply the medication. So and in return, people remember you. They write letters. They send you postcards just because of your extraordinary service that you have done for that person on that day. I received so many letters when I worked in region. People remember you, and then we feel, oh my God, I didn't realize that when I was studying in my pharmacy degree in Pakistan.
See.
Anything else that you want to share? Any words that you want to say to your professors or to your role models, which you think that may be helpful in your journey today towards this Australian goals?
Of course, I definitely want to thank all my teachers, professors, and I would also like to tell that I graduated from University of the Punjab that you were earlier on talking about.
Okay.
And we have wonderful professors over there,
Dr.
teachers
Atif.
over there who in fact are very kind, and they guide their students very nicely. And in fact, there are a number of professors, renowned professors from the field of pharmacy,
Just
like Dr.
name them
Bashir
if you remember any names. If you remember any names.
Dr. Bashir Saab, he was professor of pharmacology, he has got retired. Yeah, there was Professor Nawazi Hussain Saab, is a wonderful guy. And then Professor Jamshed Saab and Professor Tahir Javed Khan Saab. In fact, there are countless people over there. Whatever I name, everyone is a wonderful person.
Amazing.
And they always prompted us to ask more questions, never stressed us. So we were at liberty always. I myself felt liberty always, going even to the offices of my teachers, asking them. And now you have also become our mentor. And we all, especially I, must show respect as well as my gratitude, as well as I would like to thank you as well for all your effort. This is in fact not a small thing, taking out time and talking to everyone personally and in webinars, and motivating people to whom you have no direct relationship. Direct, I mean, in the sense that I never met you before this. We had never been in much contact. I, in fact, had heard your name from one of my class fellow. In fact, when I started the process for this Kaps exam and all this stuff, he recommended me that I must see IRFAN Hashmi's videos on YouTube. So thank you as well, sir.
That's very good. And I know I met professors from your university, Atif Khan Saab, Dr. Rizwan Yas.
Oh, wonderful guy.
Dr. Saika, I think, and Dr. Fatma. And they invited me for a symposium just recently, a few weeks back, to participate in give any additional topics that can be added in the curriculum that can be handy for pharmacists to be more practical, work oriented, and also maybe making them ready for international markets. So I participated in that as well, just because of that connection that I made in my Pakistan visit through my friends who was very well connected with the University of Punjab. And we arranged that session within 1 hour notification, just few phone calls exchange. And I said, yes, I'm available. I can come there for 2 hours or 3 hours. And I feel really privileged to go and speak in front of that big audience. And in many of those pharmacists are actually now doing Kaps assessment and preparing for the Kaps. They're not booked for the November exam. And you know that update is that November exam is now going to be happening 4 days. And now we've got
I have
8 centers. So that's amazing. 512 pharmacists would be attending exam probably in Pakistan. Booked. And the cost for nearly $4,000 that has been paid to APC, which is a hell of a big money, but
exactly,
it actually changed so many lives when they were all working in Australia. And when one person go from one family, that actually give benefit to maybe a whole family,
the whole
cousins.
Exactly.
That actually going to make a big impact on their family members, maybe their friends network. Like previously, I was talking to Sami. When he passed the exam, his friends are all influenced. So same in probably in your scenario, where your friends, your network will be getting influenced, like, Abdullah can do it, why not I can do it as well. So that's
exactly
the journey that need to be continued. And so thank you very much, Abdullah. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. It was wonderful talking to you.
You take care. We'll finish
Thank
the session. Thank you. You take care. Bye.